All right. Children of the sun, children of the sun. Welcome back to the spiritual navigation system. Had to get that camera angle right. Okay. Now, today we're going to be continuing spiritual navigation system, this series. First of all, welcome to my channel. You have been vibrationally attracted to Ether 9 energy. Now, today's lecture is going to be about the Zodiacs. We're going to go through, all the Zodiacs. Previous lecture was about the houses of the Zodiacs and their relation to the compass, okay? And we're going to continue this compass talk with this navigation through the spiritual system by relating it to the different elements and the different points, okay? These are different properties that go with the Zodiac, and they also relate to this spiritual compass that I got y'all on. So, if you can get your notes from last time, go get your pencils, pens, pads, whatever you need, get your vibes right, your smokes, your drinks, whatever. We finna get to it, man. It's gonna be a powerful, powerful lecture. Powerful lecture. Thank you for joining me. All right. So, I would like to begin by explaining these different points, all right? So, I want you guys to go ahead and write this out on the side somewhere. Right, C for cardinal. That's a cardinal point. I want you to give me an F for your fixed point. And I want you to give me an M for your mutable point, all right? That's going to be a part of the key when we draw out this circadian clock, okay? And then I want you to write these symbols right here for these elements, okay? Fire, see, it's this red triangle. Fire is just a regular triangle, okay? Earth is an upside down triangle with the line closer towards the tip. Air is a right side up triangle with the line closer to the tip. It's just the opposite of Earth, and then water would be the opposite of fire, which would be an upside down triangle. So y'all go ahead and get that written down, okay? Wow, I get my notes together. All right, bam. Okay, don't worry about that stuff at the top. Those my days of the week. I'm not on this Gregorian Western Hemisphere calendar anymore. Okay, I'm on this circadian natural rhythm clock of time, of nature. Okay. Now I want to break down these different points. Okay, because these points are relative to a compass, and are also relative to these elements and how they break down the zodiacs. All right, but before we get to the zodiacs, I have to break this down for y'all so we can get it, because these are the personalities and the things that make up the zodiac, and I can't explain the zodiac to you guys without explaining these things first. Okay, so first things first. Cardinal. What is a cardinal point? All right. The cardinal point marks the beginning of each season. Okay, it marks the beginning of each season, right? The words you can associate with this are active and dynamic, okay? Go ahead and write down active and dynamic for your cardinal. It's the beginning of each season, right? Cardinal signs are crisis-oriented people. These are crisis-oriented signs, all right? Crisis-oriented. All right? That's a cardinal. Well, now we move on to the fixed. That will be the middle of each season, right? Fixed signs, the things that you can associate with the fixed sign are stabilizing and nurturing, okay? Stabilizing and nurturing. And these people are value-oriented, okay? Cardinal people are crisis-oriented. Cardinal signs are crisis-oriented. Fixed signs are value-oriented, all right? Moving on to the mutable signs. And the mutable signs is representing the end of each season, right? These signs you can relate to changeable, adaptable, transformative, okay? Changeable, adaptable, and transformative. Now, these people are relationship oriented, right? So you have the cardinal, which is the beginning of each season. This is the crisis-oriented people. This is the active and the dynamics, okay? Then you have the fixed signs, which is the middle of each season. They are value-oriented. This is stabilizing and nurturing, okay? Now you have the mutable, fixed points or mutable signs. These are the end of each season, right? And these are the relationship-oriented people. And you could think of these as changeable, adaptable, and transformative. Okay. Now, when we get to the elements, we're gonna start this clock because I don't want y'all to get too bored or whatever. We're gonna get to this clock, and I'm gonna explain the elements as we go. All right. So, I want everybody to give me a nice, good circadian clock from right to left. You gotta get rid of this Western Hemisphere way of thinking. Going from right to left. All right. From right to left. We're gonna make a hemisphere for northern and southern. We're gonna do left and right. I should say up and down and left and right because it's not really northern and southern. But moving on, okay? Let's go ahead and just separate our quadrants into threes. So give me two separating lines. Bam. Bam. Okay? Bam. 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 All right? Okay, can y'all see that? Hopefully y'all can see that. All right, I'm separating the quadrants. All right, so we got 4 different quadrants. If you watched my last lecture, you know what I'm talking about. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so we're gonna start by putting the elements where they belong around, and then I will relate them to their points. Okay, so the first sign that we have on this circadian clock, right, is a fire sign. Okay. See, we have a fire sign here. After the fire sign, it's gonna be an earth sign. Right? After the earth sign, you're gonna have an air sign. And I wrote it in order respectively with the keys so we don't get lost. And I'm kind of pressed for time on this video because my last one was a little too long. YouTube gave me a really hard time. And that's the order that it goes, okay? Fire, earth, air, water. Fire, earth, air, water. Fire, earth, air, water. So if you're keeping up, let's go ahead and write them all in, all right? So we're gonna go fire, right? Earth, right? We're gonna go air. Then we're gonna go water. Right? Fire, earth, air, and water. Right? Okay, so y'all circadian clocks should look just like mine right now. Okay? Now, recognizing these fire signs, okay? Get your notes ready. You ready to write this down, okay? Your fire signs. Their personalities, you know, they're elementals. These elementals all have different personalities and traits that make up the zodiac, right? Fire signs represent those that represents the creation of energy. It represents passion. It represents, the start of something, getting things done. Okay, excitement, directness. Okay, these are the fire signs. All right, so write that down. Fire for the fire signs: creating energy, passion, being direct, getting things done, starting things, okay? That'll be your fire signs. Now, moving on to the earth signs, okay? Earth sign people represent, grounding, grounding yourself, the physicalness of things, the physicality of things, the practical thinking, right? That's like a physical form of thinking. This earth signs, okay? And each element has 3 different points, right? As you can see, but it also has 3 different zodiacs. And that's why we're doing it like this, because we're getting ready to relate it. So earth signs are your grounding people, people that represent physicality and your practical thinkers, okay? Moving on to the air signs. These people represent the social, the intellectual, the communications, right? That'll be your air signs. Socials, the intellect, the communication, the sharing of information, right? The interchanging of conversations and experiences, okay? And then your water signs, last but not least. Your water sign people typically represent your emotions, your feelings, your expressions, okay? Your intuition. That would be your water signs, all right? These are all traits of the elements now, and they also carry over into the zodiac, okay? So, before we get to the zodiac, though, I have to relate the points with the elements, okay? Now, the way that the cardinal, fixed, and immutable signs work is through each quadrant, each season. Look at this like each season, right? Remember I told you the cardinal represents the beginning of the season, fixed represents the middle, and immutable represents the end. So all of these represent one season, okay? But they represent these elements in the different seasons, right? So all of these are one season, right? But which season is it? The fire season, the earth season, the air season, or the water season? Okay, here we go. Now, for this first quadrant, right? The springtime, okay? This is a fire sign, but this is a cardinal fire sign, okay? As you can see, there are 3 different elemental signs for each. There are 3 fire signs, okay? So there are 3 different cardinal signs, but they don't all represent a fire. Here we go. Cardinal fire sign will be, our first stop here on the circadian clock. The first house. Who can guess what zodiac that is? If you can guess it, go ahead and write it in. We're going to check you at the end of this, okay? So that'll be your cardinal point. Now, and the season that this would be spring, okay? We starting from the spring, okay? We're on the circadian clock, not the Gregorian calendar. The real natural clock, okay? Springtime is the first season, all right? I want y'all to remember that, okay? Now, we're moving on to the fixed part of spring, right? The fixed point, the fixed earth sign, all right? Next, we'll be moving on to the mutable part of the spring, or the ending of the spring, right? It's a mutable air sign. Follow me? Follow me? Okay. That's the springtime. Now, we over here on the left side of the top half of the quadrant, of the circadian clock. In the second quadrant, we're working on the cardinal water sign, right? The beginning of summer, okay? It's your cardinal water sign. Here in a second, it'll be your the fixed part of the summer, okay? Which is a fixed fire sign. All right? Moving on to the end of the summer, which will be the mutable point of the summer, the mutable earth sign. Notice how in each quadrant, each element takes on a different role. Cardinal fire, cardinal water, right? Here we go. We're on to the third quadrant now. We're moving on into the fall, or the autumn, as they would call it. This is now the cardinal air sign, okay? You have the cardinal fire, cardinal water, the cardinal air, all right? So can anybody guess what's next? Fire, water, air, what we missing? It's a cardinal earth sign coming up, okay? We haven't got there. Moving on to the middle part of the fall will be your the fixed point of the fall, which is a fixed water sign, right? And moving on to the final stage of the fall, which is your mutable point, which is a mutable fire sign. Okay. Now, as we enter into the winter, we're gonna move on to the cardinal earth sign. Right? We're gonna move on to this mutable air sign, the middle of the winter, and we're gonna finish off the winter with, not mutable. I'm sorry, guys. Stay with me. That'll be a fixed air sign. And closing out, it will be your mutable water sign, right? So as you can see, we go fire, earth, air, water. Fire, earth, air, water. Fire, earth, air, water. But we also go cardinal, fixed, mutable. Cardinal, fixed, mutable. Cardinal, fixed, mutable. Cardinal, fixed, mutable. Okay, now that you see how we lined up these points and these elements, I'm going to connect them all, right? And the way we're going to connect them all now is with the Zodiacs, okay? This is what y'all been waiting on. Now, I'm just going to put the Zodiacs down, and then we're going to go through the personalities again, and we're going to review what what the elements and the points represent now. All right? So, the cardinal, I'm going to go through all the cardinal points, and then we're going to go through the fixed points and then the mutable points, okay? All the cardinal points, beginning with the cardinal fire point. Cardinal fire is what? Right, Aries. Aries is the cardinal fire sign, okay? Moving on to the next cardinal sign, which would be cardinal water. What is the cardinal water sign? Okay? This is Cancer. Okay? Moving on to the next cardinal sign, which would be air. Which is the cardinal air sign? That's right. Libra. Okay? And who knows what that cardinal earth sign is? If you could guess it, go ahead, write it in. We're going to check you when it's all done. Actually, we're going to check you right now on this one. What's the cardinal earth sign? That's going to be Capricorn. Okay? Okay? So, notice how we went through each element, but only the cardinal points, okay? So, what can we say about these cardinal signs, right? Let's break them down, okay? Beginning with Aries. Aries people are what? Go ahead and write this down, because I'm breaking it down to you. What are the Aries? Aries are your passionate people. They are independent, very impulsive. They're fiery tempered people, you know, and that's the cardinal fire sign, right? So, if you remember what I said about fire signs, what did I say? I said they were creative. They are the starting point of energy. That's that passion. That's where that passionate and that independent, impulsive side comes from. That fiery temper, right? Aries. Okay, moving on to the cardinal water sign, which is Cancer. Let's talk about these Cancer people, right? Remember how I told you that water signs are about feelings, expressions, and emotions. Cancer people tend to be emotional, intuitive, almost psychic, right? These people can almost read your mind because they know what you're feeling. You know, they're very in tune with their emotions. They're very in tune with their feelings and their intuition, okay? And they can also have a hidden side. You know, that's what that crab shell represents. But they're also very giving once you get to know them and you prove to yourself that you're someone that they can trust and they can feel your vibe. You know, they feel your positive vibe, okay? Moving on to the cardinal air sign, which is what? Libra. What did I say about air signs earlier? They're social, they're intellectual. This is about communication, okay? Libras. These people are pretty much diplomatic, artistic, creative, intellectual. And they like for things to be harmonious. Remember how I just said air signs is about communication, right? And sharing information. So they like for things to be in harmony. They don't like for people to clash. They don't like for arguments. They like for everything to be looked at from both sides and then come to an agreement or understanding to create that balance. That's what those scales represent. Okay, moving on. Cardinal Earth, okay? Capricorn. What did I say about earth signs? These people represent grounding, physicality, practical thinking. And Capricorn people tend to be intelligent, hardworking, practical thinkers, okay? They're not really focused on the bigger picture because they're focused on every detail. Every detail is the bigger picture, but every detail is what helps Capricorn succeed through the bigger picture. You know, these people tend to take, you know, a longer time because they're always grounded in foundation, and this is a solid building sign, right? So and these people tend to also have full control of their destinies, and they can do anything they put their mind to because they're focused on every detail, and they're not afraid to go through every process. They're not trying to jump straight to the top. Okay, boom. So we just broke down all of the cardinal signs, and we related them to the personalities of these elements, right? So this is how you get these different personalities. But also remember, this is just the cardinal points, okay? This is the fixed points are different because, you know, the cardinal points represents what? The beginning of the season. This is the crisis-oriented people, right? Remember I said Capricorns like to work hard and go through every process. These people tend to go like the hard and tough way because they're going to learn every lesson and they want to go through every lesson. That'll be your cardinal people. Now we're going to go through the fixed signs, okay? Now, fixed earth sign is what? It's Taurus. Okay, fixed earth sign is Taurus. Taurus people tend to be smart, tend to be ambitious, they tend to be trustworthy, they tend to be stubborn, and they don't really like answering to authority, right? Remember how I said the fixed signs represent stabilizing, stability, nurturing. It's the middle of the season, right? This is the point where everything is equalized, right? You're in your prime. You're in the midst of everything. You've got control now. You're comfortable, right? This is a fixed earth sign, Taurus. Okay, moving on to the next fixed sign, which is a fixed fire sign, which would be what? Who knows what that fixed fire sign is? That's right, Leo. Okay? Leo people are bold. That may be the fire side of them. They're intelligent. They're courageous. They're natural born leaders, right? And that may also be the fixed point. So this is a fixed fire sign. Boldness, you know, starting things, that creative energy and leadership, right? That stability, that nurturement, okay? These are natural born leaders, these Leos. And I don't mean the type of leaders that to tell you what to do and they go sit back and relax. No, these are the leaders that's going to be out there on the field with their soldiers fighting. They're going to be on the field with the workers, trying to show them the right way and actually lead them by example, okay? That's your Leo. Now, moving on to the next fixed sign, which is your fixed water sign, which would be what? Who knows what that is? Go ahead, fill it in if you're smart. That's right, Scorpio. Like an A. It's supposed to be an O. Y'all know how to spell Scorpio. Okay? Scorpio. Fixed water. These people are very passionate, independent. These can be seductive people. When I say seductive, not just sexually, I mean they can seduce you into anything that they want you to do. Mainly getting you into arguments or debates because this is how they stimulate their mind. Like remember how I told you how Libras like to, they want that balance. They don't like that clashing. But Scorpios is like the opposite. They they enjoy that clashing. That's what creates that balance for them. They like to pick your brain and question everything that you believe and question your thoughts and the things that you say come out your mouth. They like to test you and see if you really are who you say you are, right? If you wanna get a good test of yourself, go ahead and clash with a Scorpio. I guarantee you're gonna come out knowing who you are, or they're gonna make you go deep inside yourself and question yourself. I guarantee you. All right, that'll be your fixed water and Scorpio. Now, a final fixed sign that we have here is a fixed air sign, which would be what? Remember how I told you guys the air signs are responsible for what? Being sociable, communication, intellects, right? Aquarius people tend to be very intuitive, imaginative. They're also intellectual, very, very, very creative people. They have a lot of information because they're very unique. This is their uniqueness, right? And they're very unique when it comes to sharing information and sharing experiences. It's hard for us to group all of the Aquarius, traits into one group because they're all unique. If we're gonna put them in a group, the group they should be in is unique, right? Because it's hard to compare one Aquarius to another. We can never really quite get, that's that one zodiac we could never quite pin down like how they are, because they're very like kind of mysterious, but it's just because they're unique and their imagination runs. It's hard to follow imagination, right? These are imaginative people. These are people who probably are the best inventors, but we would never know because they continue to invent and they just leave it behind without we won't even know, right? Okay, so boom. Those are all your fixed signs. We went through the fixed earth, we went through the fixed fire, we went through the fixed water, we went through the fixed air. Now, we're gonna go ahead and close this thing out with the end of the seasons and the mutable sign, right? The fixed sign is the middle, the cardinal is the beginning, and now we're gonna end it with the mutable signs, right? Now, going from left to right. First mutable sign we have here is the air sign, and that'll be what? Mutable. Think about it. Gemini. That's right, Gemini. Okay? What do we say about the mutable signs? What did we say? Somebody read it out to me. End of seasons, that's right. Changeable, adaptable, transformative, right? This is the end of the seasons. These people are relationship oriented. Now let's go through your Gemini person. Okay? Geminis tend to be dynamic people. They can have alternate personalities. They tend to be very great communicators because they are understandable of each experience that they go through. And they are very like chameleon-like people, right? People like to say they're two-faced because they can switch. No, they just vibe off the energy that you give. So if you've given them an energy that makes them want to oppose the energy that you have, you need to do some reflection, right? You need to not blame them and say they're two-faced, they change them. No, what is it that you're doing that's causing the Gemini to be in its natural state, right? Boom. Moving on to the next mutable sign, which is the mutable earth sign in Virgo. Okay, shout out to my Virgos out there. Virgo people tend to be sophisticated. These people can be, have a low patience, a low tolerance for patience and mistakes. They're very kind, but they don't like complaints or excuses. They kind of hold you to a higher standard. And remember how I told you, the cardinal earth sign, which is Capricorn, they look into all the details. Well, Virgos don't really do that. They look at the bigger picture of things. So that's why they don't like to hear excuses or complaints, because they know every obstacle or every step is going to come with an obstacle. So just get it done. Go through it. It happens. It's part of getting it done. The losses and the wins. Just we focused on the bigger picture, right? Okay, moving on to the next mutable sign, which is what? That's right, Sagittarius. Okay? That'd be Sagittarius. It's a mutable fire sign. Now, Sagittarius people are adventurous, creative. They're very strong-willed. They don't care what others think. You can tell them that if they go climb that mountain, they're gonna die. They don't care. They're gonna go through it themselves because they're really strong-willed and they feel like they can do it. They can't really go off of one's thoughts because they're so adventurous. They're so creative. Creation can't really be controlled. You know, it's something that's within. So that's your Sagittarius, your mutable fire sign, right? And to close this thing out, the last sign we have here on the circadian clock would be what? That's right, Pisces. This is your mutable water sign. Okay? What is a Pisces? Or what are they like? Okay? It's a mutable water sign, so that means that they are very creative people. These are very, very sensitive people. They're very deeply in tune with their intuition. These people are almost psychic, like the Cancers, right? It's another water sign. But the thing about Pisces is that they're in tune. They're almost psychic, but they're like, you know, it's that intuition, right? They can sense things. They're kind of like predictors. They're kind of like they can place all the possibilities and probabilities together and give you the best outcome, right? They're very in tune with their senses and their feelings. If a Pisces person says let's not do it, you should probably listen to them. If a Pisces person said let's do it, you should listen to them because they're very in tune with their feelings and intuition. Don't ask them if you can ask them and they can come up with a logical thought, then that's when you probably should back away. But if you ask them and they say I just got this feeling, you better listen because that's the power of the Pisces, right? So I just gave you all the powers of the Zodiac and their representative points on the circadian clock with the elements. I've given you the definitions of these points and these elements. Okay, now that we've explained all the zodiacs, let's just review each one, okay? Going through respectively with the fire signs. We're not going to review each zodiac, just what these elements are and the fixed points, right? So, fire signs. They create energy, passion, okay? That directness, getting things started, right? Moving on to the earth signs. This is your grounding, your practical thinkers. This is your physicality, represents your physicality, okay? Moving on to the air signs. The air signs, this is your sociableness, your intellectual, your communication, right? Okay, sharing information, okay? And then last but not least, going down to the water signs, which is your feelings, your emotions, and your intuition, right? And then you have the different points that make up each of these elements, okay? You see, you have a cardinal fire, you have a cardinal water. You have a cardinal for each element. You have a fixed for each element. You have a mutable for each element, okay? Moving on. The cardinal signs are what? It's what? The beginning of the season, okay? These people you can think of as active, dynamic. These are your crisis-oriented people, okay? Moving on to the fixed signs, which is the middle of the seasons. You can think of these people as stabilizing and nurturing, okay? These are value-oriented people, okay? We just went through what every zodiac is, and I want y'all, if you've been taking notes, then you with me, all right? Moving on to the mutable, which is the end of the season, which is the adaptive, the transformative, the changeables, okay? And this is your relationship-oriented people, right? So now that we have broken down each zodiac, the elements that go with them, and their points, let's talk about what these points mean on a compass before we draw it out, okay? Now, I'm gonna tell y'all before we get into it. Your cardinal points, those are, like I said, the beginning of the season, right? But that means you just left a season. So this is the point on the compass where the beginning and the end meet, right? That's your cardinal points. Remember, I'm telling y'all this, okay? And that your cardinal points with the things The beginning is what? The cardinal, and the end is what? Your mutable. So your cardinal signs and your mutable signs, they meet, okay? That'll be like north, east, cardinal, mutable, okay? And then you have your fixed signs, okay? Fixed is not a meeting point between north and east. It is either north or it is either east, okay? This is how it works, and I'm gonna break it down for y'all. Ready? Boom. Okay. So if we're gonna go from right to left. Your east, your fixed sign, okay? That's east would be Aquarius, okay? Or we can think of it as the fixed air. Fixed air, east. Okay? Now we can go to your fixed earth sign. What would that be? Taurus. That'll be north. Okay? Okay? Now we're going to go to your fixed fire, which is going to be what? West. See how it's opposite of Aquarius? And it's right in the middle. It's the fixed point. Okay? It's exact. It's direct. It's the middle of the season. It's not where the seasons collide. It is that stability, right? And then you have your fixed water sign in Scorpio. That'll be south. Okay? So look at all your fixed signs as east, north, south, west. East being Aquarius, north being Taurus, west being Leo, south being Scorpio. All right? I remember how I told you cardinal and mutable points would be northeast, southeast. This is where they meet. Okay, so between north and east, where are your cardinal and your mutable points? That'll be Aries and Pisces. What is that respectively on a compass? That would be northeast. Okay, y'all follow me? This is a lecture on the spiritual navigation system. I need y'all to follow. Okay, Energy 9 Ether. Let's go. Okay. Now, moving on to the next point where your cardinal and your mutable signs meet. That'll be where? Cancer, Gemini. Where is that on a compass? That is northwest. Okay, Cancer and Gemini is northwest. All right? You see why? Because Gemini is right here by the north. Cancer is right here by the west. You bring them together, that's northwest. Okay, stay with me. Your next cardinal and mutable meeting points are where? Right here when you're going from the summer into the winter in Virgo and Libra season. What is that on a compass? That is southwest. Okay? Moving down into the final cardinal and mutable meeting points. Okay? This is your Sagittarius crossing over into the Capricorn season. You leave in the fall, we going to the winter. What is that on the compass? Southeast. That's right. Okay? So don't let all these letters confuse you. Just follow the notes. I hope y'all been following me with the clock, okay? And that is, we'll conclude today's lecture on the spiritual navigation system, okay? We have gone over the elements. We've gone over the different points. We have explained how these elements and these points make up the personalities of all these zodiacs. And we have spoken about how these zodiacs compare to the compass. We're talking about the navigation system. I need y'all to stick with me, all right? Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all keep taking care of yourselves. Do things to raise your vibration. We're trying to break this matrix, okay? Welcome back to, Energy 9 Ether. We are signing out. You have been vibrationally attracted to Energy 9 Ether. Thank you for tapping in. I'll see you next week.